Hi, that's Pat McDonald. I'm back with you on Banter and Beans, and joining me in the studio is Andy DeWart Crane, excellent, who is from the Blossom Wellness Center and Studio here on Main Street in Montpelier. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, nice chatting with you so far. It's great.
So
could you tell us a little bit about yourself, and is Joannie the owner?
Yes. So Joannie, I am here for today. She is currently traveling in India and will be through the end of the year. It's been a dream realized for her. Yes. And so Joannie is the owner and manifesting creator, if you will, of Blossom Wellness Center and Studio. She started it and she continues to run it. And I happen to be one of her right-hand people. She has many right hands.
There you go.
And my official title is the Studio Fairy, because
I love that.
I flit around behind the scenes and help keep the movement studios functioning as they should, so that she can have other ways to use her time and grow the business.
The duties as assigned
Exactly.
on the job description.
Yes.
That's great. So tell us about the business itself.
Yeah, so Blossom Wellness Center is basically a collaboration of many different holistic practitioners, facilitators, as well as movement teachers. And we offer quite a lot. Our business is quite different in that way. Insofar as you come to one place and you have many offerings. So we have holistic Ayurvedic wellness massages and coaching, as well as spiritual coaching. We also offer meditation instruction, as well as meditation groups that happen in different series while you learn. We have expanded our wellness center side and are doing now more integrative body work, things like prenatal massages, deep tissue, all that type of stuff, which is really, a wonderful thing. And then in terms of our movement studio side, we have a pretty full slate of classes. We have over 25 classes a week or offerings, and they range from all levels: flow yoga, vinyasa, kundalini, ashtanga, lots of there.
Way over my head.
Woo, all these fancy words.
That's great.
But also dance and fitness, as well as some different series and workshops. We have somatic workshops, restorative yoga, which is sort of like this deep relaxation, as well as offerings like ecstatic dance and contact improv. So it's a really widespread, and we've brought on a lot more fitness this fall, which is wonderful.
That is great. And your location, I'm trying to figure out where exactly. Main Street, where would it be?
Yeah, so this is one of the interesting things about us and our business, and why it's hard to get word out, is we do not have a ground level storefront. We are across the street from Shaw's, above Citizens Bank and Wilder Arts, on the second and third floors.
Oh, really?
So many people, I have been working with this studio almost 2 years, year and a half.
Yep.
And I've been going to this place for over 10 years. And I still find so many people in Montpelier that do not know we're there and probably walk past us many times throughout their week. Exactly. There you go, Pat.
I do, but you have hit upon a couple of words that I am very interested in.
Yeah.
So we'll have to chat afterwards.
Sure.
Are there other, I'm going to say similar, but massages and stuff in town? What makes your place so different and unique, if that could be the right word?
Absolutely. So Joannie started this in 2017 as a single practitioner that focuses primarily on Ayurvedic, holistic.
Do a little explaining on that word.
Oh gosh,
Sorry.
I am not Joannie. So Ayurveda is a system of health and wellness that originates from India. It's not necessarily aligned with our Western medical system. It's not necessarily fully aligned with Chinese medicine, but it's sort of one of those very age-old systems of wellness that include everything from diet and spirituality and movement. It has seasonal changes. There are different aspects of our being that can, come to the forefront or go to a little bit behind the scenes. And so it's working with that system to create health and wellness. It is the system that yoga was founded in. A lot of meditation originates from here, as well as other systems of wellness. But it's a very old one, hence why Joannie's back in India doing some work back there. And so it started in 2017, single practitioner. Yeah. And after lockdown, after COVID, we found that the demand grew. Yeah. People were really seeking a lot of healthcare in general, but also alternative wellness and health care as well. So she started bringing on other practitioners and growing the treatment rooms. And then in 2022, it was a huge leap of faith. And we added the movement studio to the offerings. And that space has been offering movement and yoga for well over a decade, with some practitioners that have been there for, I believe, almost or more than 2 decades. And so a lot of them are still with us. So it's a really special location.
Nice.
So that is one of the things that makes us different, is we're not one place where you go to take care of yourself in one way. It's more like a home with a lot of diversity and different things that many people can find what suits them.
That's good. Now, obviously, you were impacted by COVID, was that building itself impacted by the floods?
No,
Because
it was,
I know Sarducci's wasn't, and that's sort of behind you.
Right, we're right next
door.
to Sarducci's. So we were not impacted insofar as water shut off our access to our building. But we were impacted because when your community is less resourced,
Right.
you are less resourced.
Right.
And so we, like so many amazing people in Montpelier, really tried to jump in. We opened our doors. We had within certain time frames, healing space where people could come and just get a little bit of solitude, rest from the chaos of the town and trying to clean everything up. We also were able to, there was another yoga studio in town that was cut off from their studio. And so we were able to host them in hours, so they could continue offering their classes, have their people continue to be able to do this amazing, nourishing practice with the passes, as well as doing that with some wellness practitioners. They came in and used some of our treatment rooms.
That's great.
So we were impacted in multiple ways, but we were also trying to create an impact to help as well.
Oh, that's great. Thank you for that, because I will say, when I was working with Katie Trouts, and we wanted to help celebrate the 25th anniversary of Montpelier Alive, and what a great organization. But
it is an amazing organization. We're so grateful. Despite the fact that we're sort of an atypical business model, without a storefront, without, set hours where you can always walk in and have someone there, because we're really by appointment and class schedule. Montpelier Live is so welcoming. They make us feel a part of the downtown business community. They are wonderful and have really gone above and beyond.
Well, we're certainly hoping these series of videos will help people to say, hey, let me get down and support businesses like yourself. Have you, I'm going to kind of go off script, have you seen a change in, people were so angry after COVID, after the flood, I mean, and rightly so, I get it. Have you seen that there's a lessening, that people feel a little better about things, and things are looking up a little, I hope?
Yeah, I mean, so I think that what I would say, because there's still definitely some angst and frustration and anger and feeling of grounding, being ungrounded. But what I would say is, I think that some time has passed, and hopefully a little bit of healing, where people now are starting to kind of understand, okay, this is the reality. And maybe there is, I mean, definitely in our wellness center, we see people and work with feeling grounded. So we're hoping that is the case. But I do think that it's different for every single person.
That's true.
And ultimately, the good that came out of any of this is all of us working together as a community.
Well, it's so timely what you were talking about, holistic and wellness, that even practitioners, doctors, they're looking at getting you better a little differently these days. They're looking at the whole person.
Yes.
And I've been working with UVM on some things, and they talk about the whole person, and that just makes so much sense to me about what you're doing.
Absolutely. I mean, you can't just focus on one aspect of how you take care of your body, because then all these other things go by the wayside. So in terms of what we're offering, it's like receiving care for your body via a massage or a treatment, having a practice that takes care of your mind, such as meditation or a movement practice like yoga. Or honestly, sometimes you need to do things that feed your soul, and come do like a really fun, ridiculous, silly dance class, or go to ecstatic dance where you just get to move about in whatever way you want, because we all need to still be silly, and that feeds a different part of us. So that's one of the reasons why I love how wide of an array of things we have to offer, because it's not like we're having people come to us and we're teaching them how to teach a class at Blossom and how to do a massage at Blossom. We're having people come to us and say, what awesome thing are you going to be able to offer? Fabulous. Let's add it to our slate, and it just improves.
So if
everyone.
I came to you, Pat McDonald comes to you, do I sit down with somebody and you might advise that I go to this class or that class, what I would need.
Yeah. So we don't necessarily have consultations, but we do have a way you can contact either myself, who's on the movement studio side, or Marissa or Joanny, who runs a little bit more of the wellness center side. And if you're looking for advice, you can send us an email or a phone call or something like that, and we can call you back and say, what are you looking for?
Right.
What sounds good to you? What are your needs for your body?
Great.
And then we can kind of advise.
What fun. That's great. And you have you had trouble, finding help and stuff? Everybody's sort of in the, where are the people, the workers?
Where are the people?
Yep.
I will say that we are so lucky and fortunate to have a really wonderful core team of practitioners and instructors.
Great.
And the work they do is very specialized. So there's not really a place on every corner in Vermont where they can provide this. So we've had a lot of longevity. And we've seen some people come and go, but that's really for a lot of normal life things, and that's just a part of it. But we have not had a lot of difficulty in finding the help we need. It's more, we need to let people know we're here.
Right.
And you can come be a part of this. And one of our really big goals, but also tenets we already have, is just accessibility. Every one of our drop-in classes at the Movement Studio is a cash sliding scale. So we want this to be affordable for people. And we try and run specials all the time, especially on a lot of our services. And, depending on who you are, we even have some opportunities. For example, we have karma yogis who, if you can't afford to come to our studio, but you can offer to come in and help with some light studio duties, we will do a trade.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
That's how can folks? I should ask you what your website is. How do they reach out to you?
Yes, so it's Blossom Wellness Center, and we are the first one to come up on Google, especially in Montpelier. Sometimes that's the easiest than remembering the website. And when you come to our website, you will easily see book a massage or studio schedule, and you can poke around to find a little more things, but there's a contact form right there.
How wonderful. That's great. And you've obviously chosen Montpelier for its charm and hopefully people downtown. We've got to get folks downtown.
We really do. So Montpelier was selected, one, because it's our home.
Right.
And two, it's a place that has a lot of people that are focused on health, wellness, taking good care of themselves, and it attracts a lot of active people that are interested in these services. It's also a very central hub for many different towns. So in terms of being able to get here, we felt like it was a really, really good option.
That's great.
Yeah.
Could you talk a little bit about you feeling like you're I don't think you were ever off of your feet. Doesn't sound like, because you were helping and open, but you're back.
In terms of post-COVID and floods. So during COVID, we definitely did have to shut. I mean, providing massages to people, that's close contact.
Yeah.
And took just a little bit, took some figuring out. But once we were able to kind of know a little more, we were able to reopen. And, the thing that we really tried to focus on is, how can we get this to be accessible for people? So again, having those sliding scale options, having some things like community yoga, pay what you can, all that type of stuff. So would I say we're back on our feet? Yes. Would I say business is ever changing? Absolutely.
Right.
And, really what we are so thrilled at is we are seeing new people in the studio and in the wellness center all the time. And so we know that the word is getting out there somehow. We would just love to do that more and keep doing it.
That is great. And I just love the breadth, especially since, as I just said before, the doctors are looking at wellness when they're treating you for whatever you come in for. And that's what we need to do, is think of the foot to the head,
The foot to the head. I know. I was a healthcare provider before this job. I know that very well.
That's great.
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah.
So they can just call and you'll kind of guide them a little bit, because there's so much to pick from.
You will literally get me on the phone.
That's great.
And I will help you, take stock of what we have to offer, what you're looking for.
Gift certificates for the holidays?
Absolutely. We are running some specials where if you get a certain amount of a gift certificate, you'll get a coupon back. And we're also going to be having a holiday market, so you can come see our studio. You can come see the Wellness Center. We have many local artisans. And oh my gosh, I'm so bad with dates. Don't quote me. It's either December 12th or 14th. It's a Saturday,
and how
whatever
will you
that Saturday
get the word out through the bridge and other
Bridge newsletter. We
Yeah.
also are featured on the Montpelier community calendar, the Montpelier Live
perfect,
community
perfect.
calendar. So we also flyer a lot around town.
That's it. Because that sounds like a very good place if people are really not sure what they want or want to get
Come
into, that
talk
they
to
can
us.
check it out.
I will be there at a booth
great.
selling gift certificates and have copies of our schedules and our
Excellent.
offerings. So,
Excellent.
yeah.
Thank you very much for coming on.
Yes.
Thank you for tuning in. Remember, buy local, and it's the holidays coming up, gift certificates.
Great
Thank
idea.
you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Pat.
Thank you. This is Pat McDonald, your host for Banter and Beans. See you soon. Hi, this is Pat McDonald, your host for Banter and Beans, where we ask the question, what's brewing in Montpelier? And joining me by Zoom is Jesse Williams, who is the owner of Thrive Healthworks. Is that correct, Jesse? Welcome.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, great to meet you.
Thank you.
So can you tell our audience a little bit about yourself and about your business?
Yeah, so my pronouns are she, her, and I own Thrive Healthworks, which is a Reiki, breathwork, and voice therapy practice. I started out, well, I still am, a speech language pathologist, and really got interested in breathwork as a speech pathologist and working with voice clients, and that kind of expanded into Reiki. So I'm trying to provide this holistic health and wellness practice in all those areas.
That's great. I tried Reiki one time. Maybe you can explain what Reiki is, because you're not, nobody, they don't touch you, but I think a lot of it is you and how you're viewing things in your head. Is that sort of a good explanation? Because it worked.
Yeah. So Reiki's energy healing. We believe that there's a life force energy that flows through all living things, and that can channel universal life force energy and clear blockages and imbalances. So the Reiki I provide can either be hovering over certain areas of the body, or with gentle touch. And a lot of my clients have found that it like recharges the body. It can help promote relaxation, can help with stress and anxiety. It can help with just trying to help with mental and emotional being and well balance.
Well, it works for sure, because I wasn't sure, and I said, I'm going, because I usually would get the deep tissue massage, and so I understood they were doing it, offering it for free up at the hospital. And I knew one of the women who was doing it. And so I went and I said, I'm just going to make this work. And I felt marvel. And it lasted. It didn't, like sometimes with the massage, when you leave it, the feeling goes away faster than you'd like it. And the Reiki stayed with me for quite a while.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I got involved after I had my son. I had a lot of anxiety and stress going back to work, and my friend suggested just going and having a Reiki session, and it was like night and day with how I felt. You know, it really took me out of that sympathetic nervous system, that fight and flight response.
Right.
Put me into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is kind of relax and digest. And I went on and became a Reiki master and learned these techniques to help myself and my family, and just fell in love with it so much I wanted to help others.
I realized there was touching, but is it that to help you focus on where it's hurting you?
Yeah, there's gentle touch. You know, you can go, there's different chakras of the body, different areas that can be imbalanced. I find that adding the human touch is really essential. I feel like people don't get a lot of touch in their lives, and just adding that human connection can really help the energy flow.
That's great. So how did you settle on Montpelier to start your business? Because you told me you're on State Street, but on the second floor or up above?
Yeah, I'm right above Bohemian Bakery. So great place to stop by before or after. So you really feel like you've had a relaxing, calm day. But yeah, so I'm from Central Vermont originally, and I came back. I love the community. I love the small town feel, and I really like how Montpelier, the community really, enjoys like holistic health, alternative health practices. You know, we have acupuncture and massage and other energy healing. And I thought this would be a great place to do it. And it's kind of central, you know, Montpelier is one of those places where a lot of us don't actually live in Montpelier, but we do everything in Montpelier.
Well,
so getting people, you know, it's like 15, 30 minutes for everyone, right?
I think Montpelier, there's just something about it that attracts people, not just the capital, obviously, but all the stores and the feeling. And I was so impressed, having worked with Montpelier Alive, how close the businesses are to each other and how supportive they seem to me as an outsider to be, that they're very supportive of each other, which you couldn't ask for anything better than that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I'm sorry. How did COVID hit you and your business? Because the person's got to be there while you're doing the Reiki.
Yeah, so I actually started my business a few years ago, so after the initial wave of COVID.
Yep.
I just make sure that I have HEPA filters. I have 2 run in the office. I actually wear an N95 just because I'm so close to people.
Yep.
And I feel like that really helps people feel more comfortable. Not everyone feels comfortable wearing a mask, and that's fine. Some of my clients will do that, others won't. I also provide breath work and voice therapy.
Right.
So I'm able to do telehealth with breath work and voice therapy as well.
That's great. And tell us a little bit about that. What are the conditions that you deal with? I know there's a vocal cord, it's like a paralysis of the vocal cord that some people do have.
Yeah, so people can have vocal cord paralysis. People can develop muscle tension dysphonia. That's where, overuse of the voice.
Right.
People can develop polyps or nodules. I work with a lot of Parkinson's patients whose volume decreases over time. So we work on increasing the loudness of their voice. And I also work on gender affirming voice care.
Oh, please explain that. That sounds fascinating. What is that?
Yeah, so gender affirming voice care is if people don't feel aligned with their voice, I can help people learn how to make their voice sound more feminine, masculine, or gender neutral, androgynous.
Oh, that's really excellent. Where did you learn all this stuff? Is there a class or school that you went to, or OJT? How did you learn this?
Yeah, so I'm a speech language pathologist. I did my master's program at the University of New Hampshire.
Oh, nice.
And, I've been practicing as a speech language pathologist since 2008.
Wow.
I really have a passion for voice. I mean, speech pathologists work with a lot of different things, aphasia, word finding, speech issues, cognitive issues.
Nice.
And so I really fell in love with voice and helping people.
Do you get a lot of people referred to you by doctors?
Thrive HealthWorks, I have, that's where we get our referral source from. I still work for a regional hospital. And so, yes, that's how we would get referrals, is through doctors.
Yeah, that's great, because you're mentioning Parkinson's and others, that they would probably go to a doctor and realize they need help, may not seek you out themselves. That's great. Excellent. So you didn't get impacted by the floods, I'm assuming, other than perhaps people didn't come as often as they would.
I actually did. I was on Elm Street. Yeah. And so that was my first year in business.
Right.
Big learning curve with that. But I was on the second floor. So even though my physical space, my stuff was not impacted, the building was shut down, and I ended up having to move because even when I started my business back up at the end of September, October, the building still had a smell. And with the doing breath work, that really impacted people's ability to, do breath work when you're having this smell.
Right, exactly.
That's why I ended up moving my business. Yep.
Well, that's good. I'm sorry that you got impacted, but Elm Street got hit. Wow. Yeah, and and I'm also, I say this every show because I'm just absolutely paranoid about mold. And if you smell something, it's probably not good. So it was a good decision to move, I think, because mold is, you don't necessarily know it's there, but you can certainly get sick from it. So that's interesting.
Yeah. So as a result, I've reduced my hours. I had more hours previously in that office. And it's taken a little bit of time. I feel like it hindered my progress with my business. So I still feel like that's still on the up and up.
Did you get any help from the state? I know Montpelier Live was certainly working to get funding for people.
Yeah, I didn't apply for anything because I'm on the second floor and not physically losing anything and being a new business, I couldn't really say how my hours were impacted because I was so new. So I couldn't say how many patients I was not getting in because of the business. So I didn't feel like I could at the time. So fortunately, with my other job, I was able to do more hours for that, but not for the business.
Oh, interesting. So are you planning ever to do a 100% business, or going to keep the double schedule? That seems like a lot.
Yeah, that's a good goal to have. I've thought about that. I think that this is a great experience today talking about energy healing, because I don't think a lot of people understand energy healing and breath work. So I think it's really important to start getting my voice out there. Being a small business, it's really, I have to focus on where I'm going to put my money in advertising.
Yeah.
And so that's also a challenge. Advertising costs are,
right.
Even though places are trying to make it affordable, and Montpelier Live, helps out with that, it's still a challenge that I have as a business.
Well, and are you the sole employee? I mean, you're alone, or do you have somebody to help you?
Yeah, so I am a sole employee.
Oh, okay.
If this became more of an interest, I've had other people contact me about going into practice together.
Oh.
In all three of those areas. So there's room to expand. I also just took a sound healing course. So I'm going to be adding sound healing to my practice, adding tuning forks where you place them on the body and get that vibration during the Reiki session, along with sound bowls.
Okay. So Jessie, let's talk about, you just mentioned something to me. I have to ask you about Reiki for animals. Mm-hmm. How does that work? That I'm just so excited to talk about this. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so I provide Reiki for animals, all different animals.
Yeah.
And animals love Reiki. They love the energy, and they actually don't take as long as us humans. They really respond really quickly, but just putting the energy there, the gentle hands, they respond really well. Helps a lot of animals with reducing anxiety, really helps them relax, or if there's a behavior issue, it can just help relax them to work on that behavior issue along with their veterinarian.
That is awesome. Well, I told you I went to a walk the dog event. It was a fundraiser, and they had a woman there who had a table, and she was giving massages. And the look on these animals, it was like, they died and went to heaven. They were loving it. That is so cool. I'm surprised that they understand it must be energy, because they do understand what's happening, even though you're not really massaging them, right?
Yeah, and when I go to my acupuncturist, her dog knows that I provide Reiki, and he comes and sits in my lap and asks,
do me. That is the best story ever. That's really great. So we talked a little bit about how Montpelier, I think, my impression is they have really helped and banded together and helped each other out, I think. And I don't know if you know, Montpelier Alive is celebrating its 25th anniversary this year. And I think kudos. I know Katie wasn't there the whole time, but she has certainly, what a way to start a job with the COVID and the floods. And she has really been amazing, her whole staff.
Yeah, Montpelier Live has been key in keeping our businesses and our community active and vibrant. They're such a part of our central Vermont family.
Yeah, well, they certainly have everything they do, event they have downtown, they draw a lot of people. And there must be a way that you can advertise maybe through them or something to get the word out about what you do.
Yeah, they have a weekly newsletter that they send out.
Yep.
So I was profiled in that, and whenever I have sales, which I try to promote around different times of the year, they post those as well.
That's great. You were also mentioning that you just took a course on sound therapy.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah, so I am now going to be able to provide Reiki and breathwork with sound tools such as tuning forks and sound bowls. And you can take the tuning forks, which increase the vibration. You can actually place them on the body. And so it can just help amplify and enhance that energy.
Nice. And the sound bowls, what is that?
There's different sound bowls that you can, I wish I had mine to show you. Make different sound, and it's such a calming, and depending on the frequency, the body responds to that sound with healing and relaxation.
It's really interesting. That's great. Are there there's nobody in town who does Reiki, is there? I mean, you are sort of the sole person?
Yeah, I'm not aware of anybody else that's providing it currently. Could be. I know that there's also someone in Barrie as well.
Oh, really? Well, I think it's great that you got involved in all of this. And what would be the next step for you if you wanted to bring on more employees and expand your business?
Yeah, I think just increasing the clientele would allow me to bring in some people that have asked to also come in, even if it's just giving them a few hours a week.
Right.
Flow, and potentially expanding it into other alternative healing practices as well.
Great. And you work closely, I would assume, with their doctors, because if a doctor has sent them to you, you must be in touch with their doctors to understand what other issues they've got going on in their bodies that they're dealing with, right? Because I think none of us have just one issue, it seems. And the older we get, the list keeps growing. So you need to know all that information, right?
Yeah, definitely with voice therapy, I'm involved with their practitioners. So it might be the neurologist or their primary care provider or their ear, nose, and throat specialist, otolaryngologist. But for Reiki, mainly it's people, they come themselves. They don't need a referral. You just...
Right.
And, a lot of people share with me what's going on. Sometimes people don't say anything and I can feel different energy blocks. And then I tell people and they're surprised that I can feel those areas and how they shift.
You can read the body. Right?
Some people to work on lowering their blood pressure or their heart rate, reducing their anxiety, really just trying to promote that relaxation.
That's nice. If the doctor sends you, they must insurance must cover people. I would assume, correct? Or not?
Not cover it yet. I know in Canada it is covered by that. But if a doctor refers, I try to keep my prices down so people can afford it. I also will put up the sign on State Street for walk-in Reiki for people to try. So, it's $10 for 15 minutes just for people to give it a try and see what it feels like.
Right, because I know when I was talking to some doctors at UVM doing a show, they were talking about how healthcare has changed for them, that they really do look at the whole person and the whole body, not just the particular issue that you're dealing with, because they look at what health-wise you might do, tennis and massages and stuff that really help. So at some point, the insurance is going to have to catch up with all of this because doctors are looking at the whole person.
Exactly. Reiki is being provided in hospitals around the country,
Right.
Lots of times on the floor, so inpatient. It's being cancer patients when they go to the cancer center. And now there's some studies where they're taking Reiki practitioners and having them doing Reiki before surgery and after surgery, and they're starting to see some improvements in healing and pain outcomes with that.
Well, we're going to run out of time in just a minute. Could you tell us a little bit about your website? Do you have a website or way for people to get in touch with you?
Yeah, so my website is at thrivehealthworksvt.com. Again, that's thrivehealthworksvt.com. And you can go on there, you can schedule an appointment, you can read more about what I provide. It also has my phone number on there too, where you can get me directly.
Excellent, thank you. Jesse Williams, thank you very much. I hope you all check Jesse out. Come on downtown, there's so much going on here. We really thank you for taking the time to listen. This is Pat McDonald, your host for Banter and Beans. See you soon. Hi, this is Pat McDonald, your host for Banter and Beans, where we're asking the question, what's brewing in Montpelier? Joining me in studio today is Amy LePage, who is the owner of Emerge with Amy LePage. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is very nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm learning so much about downtown Montpelier. Amy and I were just talking that you don't realize how many businesses are on the second and third floor that they don't have sidewalk access. And there's so many of them. It's so exciting.
Yeah.
It's really cool. So why don't you introduce yourself to our viewers and a little bit about your business?
Yeah. So my name is Amy LePage, and my business is Emerge with Amy LePage. And I used to be on Elm Street, further down near Elm and Spring. So technically not really downtown. And it felt like not downtown.
Yeah, right.
But the flood came, and that office was no longer usable, which then meant that myself and the office mates I shared it with, we then were seeking somewhere else to be. And so I actually now am downtown, and I'm right on State Street. I'm on the third floor of 15 State Street, and it actually feels really different to be physically in the downtown.
Where the
space.
action is,
Where
right?
the action is, yeah. And it's really fun, and so it is good to be.
That's great.
Downtown.
So you were really impacted during the flood at your other location?
Yes. Yes.
Were you able to save anything or bring anything with you?
Yeah, we were able to save some things, and because I am like in a service-oriented business, I don't have things I sell. I offer service as well, but so wouldn't lose a lot in terms of that. But definitely, like massage table, bolsters, things like that for sure was lost.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, you were lucky to find some more space, though.
Definitely, and there was definitely an interim, which was lovely because it was a lot of community outreach of other practitioners who had space, and so I communicated with one, and they're like, "Absolutely, come. Here's the days it's not in use.
Great.
Use it." So that was so helpful. So within like a week and a half, I think to 2 weeks, I was able to start seeing clients again.
Oh, nice.
Few.
Yeah, right, exactly. Ooh.
Yeah, and then since then, I have then now moved to this place.
Oh, okay. So you were able to participate in some of the funding donation collections, like from Montpelier Alive and
Well, I didn't actually partake in that, but there were other resources that were there.
A lot of people had what do they call it? Crowdsourcing, when people donate through
like a GoFundMe or something.
Yeah, GoFundMe. Thank you. That's it.
Didn't do that either.
Oh, well, you
I
did
think
very
we
well
kind
for
of-
yourself.
We had people come and just like help and
Great.
clear everything out and gut the place and help the landlords with that. And then we because we didn't have a lot of loss of physical actual product we were trying to sell, it was more just personal.
Yeah.
And there was some coverage through insurance.
Good.
Which was really helpful.
Right.
Yeah, and I think because I felt like I could, within like a couple weeks, start to see clients again.
You felt better.
It kind of felt like I was going to be okay.
Yeah.
And there were definitely other places that
Well,
needed more.
hopefully on the third floor, you won't have to worry about that again.
That is, the only thing that happened with some other, I can't even remember, other water issues since then was that the elevator was not usable for like a week or two.
Oh, right.
While they waited for the water to drain from the basement, but like that was all it was. So.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad for you. That's good because some of the stories are pretty unnerving for sure. And a lot of people took out, not a lot, but some people took out loans and COVID,
Right.
and then they had to turn around and take out, and I mean, how much debt can you take on?
Yeah.
And they really
COVID-
struggled.
Yeah, COVID was interesting. And so everything I do is like person to person based to teach. At some point I'll explain what.
Yeah, well,
what
we'll
I
get
do.
there.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
But it is like one-on-one in person or group setting
Yeah.
in person. And so there was an
Close
immediate
contact.
shift, to Zoom and figuring out how does that work and getting tech to work and all of that. And then definitely some of the federal and state programs helped with that.
I've gotten used to Zoom. I sort of like it.
Yeah,
'Cause,
I still use it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Just don't even have to get dressed up. As long as you're dressed up from here to your head, you're in good shape.
Exactly.
So that's good. So let's talk about your business.
Yeah.
Because it's called Emerge.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
So Emerge with Amy LePage. And it, to me, symbolizes that basically like it's helping yourself grow. And for me, I have two kind of paths that I work with, two threads. And one of them is kind of started out with therapeutic yoga, and then that has shifted to something called somatic movement and somatic body work. So there's that one thread. And then the other thread is working with people who are either in pregnancy or preparing for birth or postpartum and caring for baby. So I have these two threads, and there is some interweaving between the two.
Can you explain somatic a little bit? Because I
Yeah.
was reading it on your website,
Yep.
and I thought, oh, there's a word I don't know.
Yeah, it is becoming more and more heard of recently. So basically, the somatic piece is that there is, I think of it as the ability to start to learn more about oneself and to start to notice like internal things, like how do I feel actually in this moment? Some kind of stress arises or anxiety arises. How does my body actually respond to that? What shifts in my breathing? Where am I holding tension? So there's that kind of layer. So it's sort of like just becoming more and more aware of oneself as you kind of move through daily life. And then that also can translate into some of the practice with that is called like neuromuscular re-education. And so it's basically doing things that are body and brain based to help the body either shift through if there's been an injury or a surgery or just overuse patterns through what you might do for work, that sort of thing. So there's like a learning how to help oneself actually just feel better in their body, in their breath, and in interaction with life.
That's great. Now, you mentioned a massage table. Do you do massages or?
Great question. So I do body work, and I'm not working with like what people might think of as massage. So I do have a massage table. People stay clothed and they wear comfortable clothing that's like easy to move in. And there is hands-on work that is involved in it. And so there is touch involved.
Right.
And I will work with, it's kind of called work with soft tissue, hands working with the muscles and fascia of the body. But I also will do movements of the body as well. And then also we'll teach people about breathing as we work together, and then also help them bring in some movements to just basically explore their body as well. Again, helping with where they might be holding tension or strain or have pain in their body.
Well, you mentioned the mind, and I learned a very good lesson I did a Reiki session one time. The hospital was offering it, and I found they don't touch you, but most of the relaxation stuff comes, you do it, the brain, because they're asking you to think about here, and all of a sudden you're feeling better, and it's amazing if you can control it, what the mind can do for you, right?
Yeah. Well, do you want to try a little something?
Now?
Yeah. We're not even going to stand up. We're just going to be right
I'll do
here.
that, sure.
But
go
anybody
ahead.
at home watching can do
Okay,
this.
do it.
So just as a thing, we're not even going to see what we're doing, but just start to wiggle your toes. And whether you have shoes on or not, just wiggle your toes, move your ankles, and see if you can just actually pay attention to what that feels like. So we're trying to just get quiet enough and slow down enough to actually notice, oh, that's what scrunching my feet feels like. That's what spreading my toes feels like. Or you might notice, I actually can't spread my toes. They're not spreading.
Why is that?
And so with this, just simply something like that is just sort of a practice of let's pay attention to a part of our body. Let's pay attention to the sensation of movement. And let's start to pay attention, this idea of noticing or feeling. You could think of it as feeling that sensation of movement. And I often think about our feet as if we are standing, walking around, and like,
Right.
that is how we connect to the ground, to the floor. And another way that you can explore with this is simply to just kind of move one shoulder and then the other.
I'm starting to feel it, or it's like, oh.
Yeah, so if you're
Nice.
just slowly moving one shoulder and the
Yep.
other, oftentimes that's where we tend to hold tension.
Right.
Right? And so if we're just even giving ourselves the opportunity to have
Nice.
some gentle, repetitive movement,
Yep.
it can start to release some holding patterns. We might even notice that, oh, I just actually took a breath and actually exhaled.
Nice.
So just kind of as some like real short examples
That's
of what
great.
some of the movement
If
might
you really
be.
just focus, it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. I was told one time that if I try to relax my tongue,
Oh, yes.
your whole, and if you do, I do that a lot at home. I just stop and you just really concentrate on relaxing your tongue. The next thing you know, the whole body's going. It's
Yeah.
really amazing.
Yeah.
You know.
The tongue is like such an interesting muscle in the mouth. And part of what I do is also work with people on learning more about their pelvic floor muscles, which are in the pelvis.
Right.
And the tongue, face, mouth is directly related with the pelvic floor muscles as well.
Oh, interesting.
And so there's a lot of exploration you can
Yeah.
do around like other parts of the body that can help with releasing.
That's great. Cool.
Yeah.
It's exciting. I feel like, oh, take me away. Do it.
Yes.
It's nice, so nice to find a way to relax. Because
Yeah.
I don't think, I sometimes say I'm not nervous, but if I stopped, I'd feel I'm tight, like really tight, and
Yeah.
it's good to relax. You
Yeah.
don't even know you're in trouble, I think.
Yeah, and I think what's important, one of the ways that I think makes what I offer unique is that it's just knowing that we are going to get wound up. There's no
Right.
way it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So the goal is to never not feel distress in that way, but it's to have the tools to be able to recognize and then to
right.
regroup
Now,
and then to adjust.
You mentioned people that are pregnant and postpartum.
Yeah.
Speaking of pressure and nerves, I mean, they must really benefit from getting relaxed and understanding what's happening and
Yeah.
and what's coming.
Yeah, yeah, and also like having a chance, especially after her pregnancy and birth, and their nervous system,
Right.
their baby's nervous system, and whoever is there, like
Yeah.
within that family unit, and like we're all like bouncing off each other. So
Right.
having ways to learn how to understand what's happening.
I'm not
with
sure
that
how many
interaction.
people have a real support system either at home. My daughter was fortunate. I was there, and my mother was there for me. And I told you before, back when I had my daughter, 5 days, they didn't even think about sending you home before 5 days. Now it's, 24, 48 hours, and you're out of there and
Yeah.
in charge of
Taking care of this human being.
little baby.
Yeah, I definitely in my childbirth education classes, yes, we talk about birth per prep, but I definitely have a whole section where we're talking about and exploring and thinking about questions around, well, what is it like to then be taken care of?
Right.
And navigating all that brings so that there is time ahead of time to...
Do the husbands or fathers come with the women?
Definitely, partners can come.
Well-
And again, like my classes are really trying to welcome in and bring in and meet any family configuration that's
there you
out
go.
there. So coming in and, the classes I do like to be able to really help whoever the support people are
Good.
to know how to be helpful in the process, and also really do a lot of talking around what are your
That's good.
circles of support beyond whoever might be immediately in the
So,
family.
Amy, how did you select Montpelier as your home base for?
Well, I live in East Montpelier, and so I
close.
liked the location
Yep.
and the closeness for it. And I think also, I have worked a couple times at different places farther afield, and it just also felt like really helpful in my own family and life situation to not have to travel too far afield.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And do you notice that the streets have the same foot footprint? I mean, are there the same number of people downtown? I know a lot of people are concerned that that hasn't gotten back to where it should be or
Right.
they'd like it to be.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, I think, because one, I said prior, I wasn't even downtown, so there's 0 foot traffic.
Well, that's true. You don't have anything
So
to
this is
reference.
different for that.
Right.
However, I will say also, I'm not like a regular retail store. I don't have hours where you can just come in. There's always,
Right.
it's appointment based or class time based.
Right.
So that is interesting in and of itself. So even some of the things that are happening downtown, Flannel Friday, Cabin Fever, this and that, it's like, I have to be a little bit more creative of how can I partake, so that
Right.
people actually
Is today
know I'm there.
Flannel Friday?
I think this Friday
This
is.
Friday. Oh, this Friday.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I got to remember. Amy, Montpelier Live just does so much
Yes.
for everybody, and they're celebrating their 25th anniversary this year, which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
And Katie just, I don't know where she gets the energy, but
Right.
she's very, very clever, very, she's got all kinds of ideas about how to bring people down, which is why we're trying to do this.
Yeah.
We're open for business.
Yes.
So come on down,
we
people.
are.
And I'm sure, gift certificates to for
Absolutely.
the holidays. What a perfect gift
Yep.
for
Yeah,
somebody.
there's gift certificates, therereard online classes that
Yeah.
you can pre-record.
Oh, you have online classes.
Yep,
Oh, talk
you
about
can.
that a little bit. We just have a few minutes, but
Yeah, well, I offer some somatic movement, which if you're like, what does that mean? It's gentle therapeutic movement that is going to help you feel better in your body.
Right.
I do that via Zoom on Tuesday and Thursday mornings.
Yep.
You can come in person to the Tuesday morning one, and I offer a number of different classes, but the hands-on individual work that I do for the body work sessions as well. And you can sign up online for
Nice.
those, and I do also offer gift cards.
do you find, I'm looking at myself thinking age, are there older women or younger, or is it a mix of when
Yeah.
you're stressed and doesn't much matter how old you are?
Kind of doesn't matter how old you are. And
So you've got a mix of older and younger
Yeah.
people?
And with my, especially with my private sessions, I've worked with some ages
Yeah.
and upwards. And again, whoever you are,
Great.
however you live in your body, are all
Nice.
all welcome.
Well, I can tell from your voice and that you make it very calm and relaxing for people, which
Yeah.
I can tell would be a very good, safe
Yes.
safe place to be.
Yeah.
Which, and you share your space with other people, or?
I do share my space, and so again, it's like at 15 State Street, and I share it with another. Well, it's not like a company, but it's called the Everything Space. There's 2 people, and we share then our space. So my space,
That's very smart to do.
is there, and then this other one as well.
There's quite a few people in Montpelier that are doing that shared space, which I always think is just so you can share the common things that you have in common if you have somebody to make reservations or do that kind of office stuff, and then you do your thing.
Yeah,
That's great. Good for you. Could you tell folks where you're about your website, and maybe we can get them to
Yeah.
check you out?
Definitely. So I can be found at www.emergewithamylepage.com, and my email is info@emergewithamylepage.com. Those are the best ways, as I'm choosing not to be on social media.
Oh, that's a bold move.
It is.
Yeah,
It
I'm thinking about it. I have a couple of friends that have given it up because I must admit I'm a little addicted.
Yeah.
And I keep thinking, what is this doing for me?
It has
you know?
been lovely not having it.
Yeah,
in my
right.
life.
Good for you. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, thank
and I wish you luck and go downtown.
Yes.
Yes, come on down. Thank you, Amy, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is your host, Pat McDonald, for Banter and Beans, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.